Did you ever play a game of chess? I'm sure you did. Let me ask you a question. Are you Raja or Wazir? Confused? Okay, I'll be right back right now with a brand new story on lateral learning. Don't go away. Hello and welcome to Sip and Talk with Vikram in a brand new edition of Lateral Learning. In this section, I bring to you interesting stories with a hint of learning in it. What you have learnt in B schools and in textbooks are already there. I bring to you something from my own life's experiences. And that's what makes this program interesting for everybody, isn't it? So, those who are watching me for the first time, please subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon to stay notified. And do post in your comments. So, cheers. Today, I'll bring to you a story called Raja or Wazir. You see, once I was playing chess with my son. He was a little boy, and I was just showing him what each pawn could do, what it is called. Okay, there are two versions of chess. One is the international version, where is you have a king, a queen, bishop, knights, castle, and there is an Indian version where you have Raja, Wazir, Ghoda, Hathi, Ute. So they have different names, but they have the same moves, fortunately. So I was just showing him that, this thing moves like this thing moves like this. And then when I came to the king and I showed that the king can move like this. So before he could even play his first game of chess, he questioned me, Dad, why is the king least powerful in a game of chess? You see the Wazir, it can go anywhere, do anything. You see any other, they can do anything better than the king. And why is the king the least powerful? Now that put me into some thinking. Yeah, apparently the king looks least powerful, but if you relate them to real life, then the king is the strategist, somebody who devises the strategy. So basically, the player of the chess is the king who has to devise the strategy. So you are the human behind that particular pawn, and it's your strategy that wins. So this is how I convinced him somehow. But yes, that brings me to more detailed thinking on this matter. As you know, if I come across something, I start thinking deep into it. So I went back to those days when kings used to be mounted on the elephant top, and from there they used to use binoculars to, have a bird's eye view of the battle going on in the battleground. And then there were soldiers and horsemen who would go on the forefront to fight the battle. Now, the king is seated up there, he's watching and he's giving directions. And then the horseman goes and passes on the directions to the soldiers, and then the soldiers re strategize themselves accordingly. So, strategy making was considered as a very integral and important part of any warfare. And those who were the horsemen, the wazirs who used to go on the forefront and execute those strategies. Now they were the people who were strong in execution. So they are the tacticians. So whether you can win a battle with strategists alone? No. Can you win the battle with the tacticians alone? No. Likewise, it is in the corporate world. You have a chief strategy officer and you have a chief operating officer. So what does the CSO do? They draft strategies where you should take the organization to, what is the vision, what is the goal, what are your core values. And then there are COOs. who are down there at the ground and they are executing the plans and giving the results for the organization. Now, if you have to appoint a CEO, whether you would appoint a CSO as a CEO or a COO as a CEO. Now, that's a very confusing question. Obviously, the CEO comes from one of these two streams. And the CEO basically is such a matured individual who is also a strategist as much as a tactician. So, if you want to take the organization into a long term growth trajectory, you need those strategies. Or sometimes you are doing all that you want, but still not getting your results. Even then, you need to redraft your strategies. But if you need the machines to roll today, the production to move out today, and the sales to happen today, you need those tactical peoples right away. Because if you just make strategies and there is nobody to execute, even then that is a disaster.
So, cheers to that. I come across two types of people in industries. The one are those who are good in planning and strategies, but they say, oh, I cannot do so much of execution. You see, that is for people at the lower level to do. And I'm not getting a raise or a promotion from here on. Now, to them, my advice is merely sitting in the classrooms and making strategies is not enough. Because when you want to make strategies, you also need to have the first hand experience from the ground, where the work is being performed, where the execution is done. You need to know the nuances of those so that you can incorporate those into your strategies. There are CEOs in large organizations who know every employee by their names. Yes, Rusi Modi, Ratan Tata, they know every employee by their name. And then there are people of the other type who are hard into execution, very hard worker, but they lack in planning, they lack in strategies. And even they remain at the mid-level and cannot rise above. To those, my advice is, please learn from your experiences. Please develop your perceptions from your actions. Whatever you are doing into execution, try to understand the genesis of that, try to understand the consequences of that. And if you can put those pieces together, you will be able to develop some higher vision. You are micromanaging very good, but you have to have the higher vision of things. You need to have the bird's eye view. Do not think in terms of your department alone, your function alone. Look at the organization on the whole. You are a part of the mega system as a subsystem within your department. If you have interdepartmental conflicts, if you cannot get along with people outside your department or outside your function, then you need to understand that that is where you need to work on. You have to have the holistic understanding of the organization and then take your decisions in the interest of the organization and not just for your department or for yourself.
So, going back to the good old times of kings, you see, if you take an example of Alexander and Porus. Now, Porus was that typical Indian king. He was very strong as an individual. In a one-to-one combat, he would be invincible. And Alexander, on the other hand, went out to conquer the world. Now, Alexander had better weaponry, he had fast moving horses, and he was much of a tactician. He would go right into the battle and cut through the enemy. But he was a poor strategist. And although he traveled all the way from Europe and he conquered many kingdoms and countries in the way, but his dream to conquer the world was shattered once he arrived in India. Because in India, tactics doesn't work alone. You need to have a strategy as well. And his tactics were he did not trust anybody. He took all the decisions by himself. He would be on command, and if necessary, he would kill his, the closest of confidants, just to instill fear in the others, just to command them with a tough hand. On the other hand, the Indian kings were more of strategists. They had visions, they had long term visions, they had bird's eye view about things, and they were somewhere less tactical. That is why they got overpowered, because you need to have a mix of both. Unless you have the mix of both, it is very difficult to move on with just one strategy or just one tactics. So, where did we come to? After Alexander and Porus, who were the persons who actually were successful? It was a combination of Chanakya and Chandragupta. Yes, Chandragupta was the tactician. He knew how to fight the battle, how to go ahead, how to go in front. And Chanakya was the strategist. He knew what should be done. So, the combination of what should be done and how to be done is what the corporate management has to follow. So, there has to be a team. There has to be a team of people comprising of strategists and tacticians, so that when somebody gives a vision, there has to be somebody to go and achieve that. So, in my opinion, nowadays when you say multitasking, I think multitasking doesn't mean doing 10 types of jobs at the same time, because that takes away your focus. You should be, as a multitasker, you should be a strategist as well as a tactician. You should be able to understand the nuances of both, because only having a bird's eye view or going into the micro detailed view does not help alone. You need to be somebody who can coordinate between both these views. Yes, you should see the big vision. At the same time, you should know which path to take. So, with this, I leave it to you to decide again, are you a Raja or a Wazir? Please type in your comments and subscribe the channel, hit the bell icon to stay notified. Thank you very much for your patient listening. Namaste.